everyone, and welcome to All Things Grace podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Majors, and I am so thrilled to have this guest with me today. My doctor, and an amazing physician, amazing all the things. We'll get into all of that. But Dr. Towolawi is here with us today. She is the epitome of no limit living. And so she's going to talk to us today. She's going to kind of sit with us and share her story and just talk about how it looks on the outside. Is that she seamlessly is blending these roles of renowned physician, skincare innovator, dedicated mother. Did I mention that she wrote a book? She's a vegan. She's always bringing nutrition to the community, a vibrant community activist. So whatever you're doing, whether you're nurturing your family or leading advances on healthcare and aesthetics and all the things, somehow, some way, you do it all. And so at our last meeting or our last appointment, I was like, I want you on my podcast because I want to know myself how you do all the things. So I am so happy to have Dr. Margaret Towolawi, my doctor, here to visit with us today and to share space.
Hi, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the invitation and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you do so many things, but I just want to kind of go back because it started from somewhere. Where did you, what was the genesis of, I'm going to be a doctor, or were you told you're going to be a doctor? How did that go?
It's a great question. So thankfully I was not told, and I'll be honest with you all, I was just trying to avoid being a doctor. Being a doctor bit me. I'll explain that. So I have a pretty large family. I have 5 siblings. I'm the second. And my oldest sister, so she was, 5 years old or so, said, I want to be a doctor, medical doctor. She is now a psychiatrist. And my younger sister, who I'm sandwiched between 2 girls, she was always like, I'm going to be a dentist. She is now a dentist. And I was like, well, I like to be different. That was always my MO growing up, and still now as an adult, I would say. And I was like, well, if they want to do healthcare, I want to do something else, right? And the first thing I can remember saying that I wanted to do was around age 7, saying that I wanted to be a writer. And my immigrant parents, my mother, bless her heart, she was like, oh, you won't make any money doing that. I didn't really know what that meant, but I was like, that must be a negative thing. So I guess I'll try to figure it out. And, growing up in LA, went to various kind of pipeline programs where Black and brown kids get exposed to different things, health related things, engineering. And I thought, well, since my sisters are doing health stuff, let me look into engineering. Went off to college, went to Stanford, and I started to take engineering classes. And in the back of my head, I was like, this isn't for me. But I was like, well, what else am I going to do? Summer, going to my sophomore year, I was on campus working for a program called Upward Bound. Great program for youth. And I got really sick, extreme abdominal pain on the left side. Turns out I had a blood clot in my spleen. Had to be in the hospital for almost 2 weeks, all the things, right? And, here I was at the time, I think I was 18, going to be 19. I'm thinking I'm pretty smart at that point. I'm like, I'm at Stanford, all the things. But I have I couldn't tell you where my spleen was. All these unknowns about my body I did not like. And I'll be honest, all in all, the hospital experience was not a bad experience, but I definitely felt like I was talked down to at times because of my youth, because of my skin color. So I went back to campus that summer thinking, well, I want to do something around health, but fighting that urge, right? And I was like, I don't know if I can be a doctor. I don't know. And all these things, I was like, I don't know if I could do that. So started learning about public health. And at that time, early 2000, public health was, in my opinion, not as well known as it is now. And I started to take classes at Stanford related to that. But that itch still in my head was like the doctor thing. I was like pushing it away. Anyway, I finally ended up talking with my older sister, who at that point was at Berkeley, about to graduate, was on the pre-med track and all the things. And I told her, and I was like, I'm worried because, my engineering grades, because I was not interested in being an engineer. Like, if I don't like something, I'm not going to put my all into it. We're kind of subpar. And I was worried about trying to switch and do pre-med at that point. And she was like, you know how to network. You have a ton of extracurriculars. If you want to do this, I think it's doable. So anyway, that's the short version. I got sick and started to get interested in medicine from my experience as a patient. And here we are now. There's a little bit more to the story, but that's the long, quick version. Yeah.
So you're into your medicine, and then all along comes, I don't know where husband into it,
Oh,
and children hearing feedback. Do you have earbuds in?
no, I'm listening to you. No
Okay,
earbuds. Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
good. Okay. Mm, okay. Um, so my question is, you have all these things going on, and it just seems like there's more on your plate. So then you have a skincare line, which, by the way, has been
Look good.
amazing,
Thank you.
amazing. So you are my primary, you are my gynecologist, you are my esthetician, you're my nutrition person, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're my emergency medical
Sure.
provider as well. We were on the phone the other night just trying to figure some things out. And so
Yeah.
how do you do all of it? And this conversation, and let me give you context or
Yeah.
reminder. This context started because I'm like, what is it about people who they don't trust people who do a lot of things well? Like, you can't be this good. Your skincare line cannot be this great and you be an awesome mother and
Yeah.
wife, and you have a thriving practice, and you're out in community, and you're on these panels and doing all these things. And you said, I don't know. I'm wondering if that's a Seattle thing or if that's a Northwest thing. Like, is that something here that I notice it more here than other places? So I just wanted to resurface that conversation as how we got here. And now you can share. So tell us about how all these things.
Yeah, well, I always like to tell people it's all connected in that I simply put have always liked looking good and feeling good, right? So looking good, obviously that's outside appearance. I'm an LA girl, right? I'm from Los Angeles, born and raised. My parents also happen to be Nigerian. Nigerian people are very proud people. They like to look good too. So combine LA being Nigerian, you'll put that together. That's just from the jump, right? And then the feeling good, I was very ahead of the trend, and I'll just be very honest. I just the way God made me. I'm always ahead of trends. Things that I'm usually looked at like that's weird. People end up catching up onto. For example, when I was 15, 16 years old, and I was like, I want to stop eating meat. People thought that was very odd. 25 plus years later, all these options for plant-based food, right? When I went into my bedroom and cut off my perm at 18 years old, everybody thought I was crazy, and then here we are. Natural hair is embraced. This is just like just scratching the surface. I could go on and on, right? So, but all that to say, at a young age, I was like, wellness is a thing that's really important to me. I want to make sure that I do good by my body if I want to live a long life and live a life of quality, right? So, and that ties in with I'm a primary care doctor, right? So family medicine by training. I train at University of Washington, trained to deliver babies, take care of children, people through the lifespan, and take care of the entire body. So a lot of people don't realize that family physicians are general doctors. So we get training in all areas of the body. And then depending on where you want to live, if you want to live somewhere rural, you can actually also get additional training and surgeries and all the things if you want to do that, right? So that kind of general understanding of the body and how people work in community and families, something that's always intrigued me, and that's what I practice. And then on top of that, I got an extra. Oh, sorry, I got an extra training in lifestyle medicine. That's another layer, right? So that looks at eating a plant-based diet, managing your stressors, moving your body, getting enough sleep, minimizing alcohol and drug and tobacco, and then having healthy connections as part of a way to prevent, treat, and reverse diseases, right? And then on top of having practiced in Seattle for almost 20 years between medical school and being a physician out here, dearth of providers for Black folk when it comes to skin and skincare and dermatology care, and I would get people, I'm looking for a Black dermatologist, or can you help me with my acne? And I was like, oh, light bulb, this is something. There's a need for this, right? So I don't know if I answered your question. Hopefully, I am. I feel like I'm going a little bit around there, but in short, it's all really connected, in my opinion. And I think to people who don't get it, it can be like, oh, so I try to like put that one liner. It's all connected. Looking good on the outside, feeling good on the inside, and they go, oh, okay. But I would be very dishonest if I said, oh, it's easy. It's not easy. I thankfully have great support. I honestly couldn't do all the things I do without an amazing husband, right? Like the women's business event earlier in the year, and somebody had shared some quote by Sheryl Sandberg, I think it was, who said that when you're a woman in business and you are married, who you're married to makes a huge difference in how successful your business is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's speaking at these panels and at conventions and all the things. My husband is watching the children, you know, doing it not in a why you got to do, you know, like it's like the two of us made these kids, we want these kids, and he also supports my dreams, you know, and you know, we met second year of medical school. He's not in the medical field, and at that time, I thought I would, like I think many doctors, just work at a traditional corporate setting, which I did for some time, and I realized that was not the best thing for my health and for the vision I have for myself. So I left that, and so I left a very stable income and all the things, right? But anyway, so it's not easy, but I have great support, and I have passion for what I do, and I not everybody can say that they love what they do, that they can set their own schedule, and I can say that, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So yeah.
So in order to have this much going on, you have to, I would imagine, have very clear, strict boundaries so that you can do all these things well. What are your boundaries, and do you honor those boundaries consistently?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, boundaries, the B word, right? Boundaries are so important. And I think there are seasons when I'm really good about it, and then other seasons when I was like, oh, you know, you're human, right? You slip up. And I'm a person who cares a lot. I care about people. I care about people's feelings, right? And when you tell somebody no, there's always that voice like, oh, will I get invited again? Will they be okay? And then sooner after, like it's fine. It's fine. You know, other times I will fall into that. Sometimes my boundaries are a little bit looser, you know. But for me, being comfortable saying no, you know, looking at because besides, it's not just me. I got two little kids and a spouse that I want to spend time with. So looking at things, and I have to ask myself, well, is this in line with the direction I want to move in right now in this season, right? So for example, like in the summer, you know, kids are out of school, right? And you know, it's only so many years before you blink and then they're 18 and out the house, right? So I'm like, okay, in the summertime, I try to take a lot of time off, right? And I am very like to communicate that to my patients, like. And the nice thing is, a lot of people like to go on vacation or just kind of, you know, don't want to come in the office as much anyway. So it's worked out that way. When I first opened, I was very nervous. So I barely took time off, right? And that was not the best thing for my mental health, right? So just being comfortable saying no, realizing if somebody doesn't get that, they're not, maybe they're not the best fit for my practice, right? So because I do promote total body wellness, right, and doing things to make sure you are walking in your purpose and, you know, supporting your mental health. I have a lot of Black women patients, a lot of high-powered business owners, very, very motivated, all the things, right? And I see a lot of common themes around, like, you know, I can see things that resonate with between myself and my patients, and I don't want to tell them to do one thing that I'm not doing myself, right? So, yeah.
I really appreciate one of the things that I appreciate about you as a doctor is that your language is so clear and you're so passionate about what you're saying, and you get excited and then you're like, okay, wait, I'm talking too fast, let me slow down, right? And because you love what you do, but also it's just very clear. And I feel that saying, people don't care what you know until they know you care. And I'm going to share this. We can edit it out if you don't feel comfortable with me saying it about myself, or I guess it was about you, but just your, you know, when I'm like, well, I am being more casual about some things that we're dealing with my health, and you're not being as casual. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute, let me pay attention. And when you said, look, I'm not trying, you're not about to stroke out on my watch. That's not going to happen. We are going to, and I was like, oh, like this is real, right? And I appreciate that because it's like I have a friend telling me, girl, don't play, except for you are a doctor and says, girl, don't play. And you're pretty, you know, your language and the way you vibe is pretty even keeled and it's great. But like when you're serious, like when you want me to stop and pay attention, you really focus in and use different language. So I love the way that you communicate as one of your patients, but I also love the way I've watched, you know, your different podcasts. I mean, the different things you've been on and all out in the world. I just think your message is so profound about our health and our whole person intended to our whole myself. So that was just me, fangirling a little bit about how I finally found a freaking Black doctor that I love. But what I wanted to ask you specifically was related to how you care for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you have so many things going on, yes, you do have your boundaries, but no. I want to come back to that. I want to ask you something, because you said a minute ago, you're talking about saying no, right? Being able to say no. What are the things that you say as somebody who has so much going on? What is it that we just missed the mark on a lot as women, as Black women, as folks out here? What would be a game-changing thing that you would say, if you don't do anything else in your life, do this thing, or say this thing, or have this boundary, or whatever?
Yeah, that's a great question. The first thing that came to mind, and I'm gonna just start it before I fully process it, because I feel like that's where God wants me to go, is save some of the day for yourself. And by that I mean, I'll use myself for example, hopefully to illustrate this point. I got 2 little kids. My husband goes to work really early, so in the morning it's me making sure that they get up, making sure that they're dressed, making their breakfast, getting their lunch, driving them to school, all the things, right? My phone might be going off. Patients may need something, right? But they know, before you come to this my bedroom, that's my time. That shower, I might have a podcast going, meditate, read, whatever. That's that time that I save for myself in the morning. And when I first became a mom, I'll be honest, I really struggled with, I've always been a morning person. I had used the morning to do yoga, all the things. And then you have these little beautiful human beings come into your life. They don't care if you have a morning routine that you've had for at that point, 36 years, however old I was when I had my first kid, right? They don't care, right? But now that they're 5 and 8, they've had to learn, okay, she's going to be in her room for a little bit to get her hair right so that she can be the best person for herself and for us, right? So just say something. If you're not a morning person, maybe that's in the evening, or maybe that's during your lunch break at work. Read a book, go for a walk, but just save some of the day for yourself, because we are often, and even if you don't have kids, you will find, especially Black women, we take on the role as nurturer. I named my whole practice Nurture Well Center, and I thought about that later on after the fact. I was like, that's so crazy how I did that, and that's a whole. Not a therapist, but maybe somebody can unpack that for me. But anyway, we're nurturers, right? And it's very easy to not save anything at the end of the day for ourselves. And we wake up the next day like, oh gosh, here we go again. Life life seems like a chore, right? And that's not what God wants for us. God wants us to live life that feels joyous, that we want to gut up and get excited about every day, right? So yeah.
So if you oh God, I had a question I wanted to ask you. If you were to say, this is one thing that I don't get a lot of stuff right, but this thing I know this to be a truth.
So say that again.
If you were to say, I don't know everything, but this particular thing, I know that is truth. That feels true. It could be anything.
Yeah. I'll keep. There's a lot of. There's a lot of directions I can go with this. The first thing that came to mind is, if you are intentional about what you put in your body, food, substances, and you choose the things that are the best things for your body, you will feel good. You will live a long life prayerfully, and you will just be a better off person for yourself and for those around you. So be wise about what you feel you're with. Yeah.
Do you do any seminars or workshops or anything on food? I know you're vegan, and I know that you're all about promoting whole foods. Do you do seminars, workshops, or anything like that?
Yeah, I've done many workshops, and I just want to clarify. I like to say that I'm plant-based. I follow vegan diet. I am not vegan. I think being vegan is great. If someone who says I'm vegan, this person is not wearing leather or fur or using gel. Very, very strict. And I think that is awesome. But I don't want to walk around here lying. I have thrifted leather and thrifted purses, and anyway, so I follow vegan diet as far as the foods that I eat. But I do like to say plant-based, because I feel like it's a lot more inclusive and it's a spectrum. And have patients where they're on various parts of the journey, and I want to be very inclusive, right? So I follow a plant-based diet. So people I know are 70%, some are 80%, 70% or percent and higher. That's where you're bound to get some good health outcomes, right? But so that's why I like to say. I like to say plant-based. Just see me toss that out a lot. But yeah, I do seminars and workshops I've done in the past. Do I have anything coming up on the docket schedule now? No, I just finished up the Planet Expo. That was awesome at the Seattle Convention Center. But yeah, and I love to do as many talks as I can around the topic. I think one of the most popular ones I've done in the past is just how to adopt a more plant-forward diet. I did a series centered around that last at the Wow Gallery 2023 around this time, and that's just a discussion I love to just have because it's palatable, no pun intended, and people just like, oh, okay, and it's really eye opening for people, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So
Wow. Well, I ask everyone this question, Dr. Margaret. So here we go. On a scale from 1 to 10, okay, 1 is, oh, I'm miserable in this life. I got the wrong life. I want to do over. This is not the life I wanted. Okay. 10 is, I can't imagine a more amazing life. I cannot imagine how, I mean, this is my life. Oh my God. I can't imagine it any better. From 1 to 10, where would you fall for, your whole life?
Yeah.
And if it's not a 10, do you know what it would take to get it a 10?
Okay, I'm gonna go with 8.5. And I think is sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Is not a 10. I think 10 is certainly attainable, but I like to not be tied down to anywhere. In my heart, I'm very much a free spirit. Like if I had the means, I would like to live in an RV and travel. That surprises a lot of people to hear that, and I think that's just the thing about me that I like to say. People could never figure me out completely. Those who know, but like I think a lot of people would be surprised to hear that. But I like to just be one with nature and not be tied down. So right now I'm very much tied down. I got kids who are in schools, we got bills and other things, right? That would be very nice. But yeah. To truly have flexibility.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. You're right. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
So we're kind of winding down here, but I wanted to ask you. So basically this is about living with no limits, right? Being able to have it all, being able to do different things, many things, and do them well in the ways that I've seen you do them. And so I think I want to talk just for a minute about what the barriers are. Somewhere along the lines, you figured out I can do more. I can have it all. I don't know if this has always been with you or if there was some real work you had to do around worthiness, which a lot of, folks or Black women are dealing with worthiness, value, not being able to negotiate your salaries or business because you're too not, insecure about your value and all those things. Did this come with you? This like I can do all the things, I can do whatever I want to do and I can do them well, or
That is a good question. My gut response is I feel like I've always been hardwired to go after all the things since as early as I can remember. But how I got to being in corporate medicine, having my own business, it was never my intention to have my own business. Something happened where I used to work that did not sit well with me. And I tried to write it out, so to speak. And then I was like, this does not feel right to me. So I literally had to explore my options. And I was like, I don't want to not be a doctor, but I feel like if I'm in a corporate setting, this is the same story, different day, wherever you go. And I want to earn it. And I literally manifested what I do now. I remember being on Facebook. I'm in a lot of different different doctor groups. Okay. And I remember I was in one group and I posted, is there a job that exists where I can, see people in person, do telehealth and And somebody was like, oh, something called direct primary care, which is pretty much what Nurture Well Center is, a direct primary care practice. Did not know what that was at all. Starting the research, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that I could, this is it. This is it. And again, in medical school, they don't teach you business. I think that's on purpose. And yeah, I never had a business. And so it was a lot of learning as I went along and just getting mentored by folks, asking the questions. Yeah. So that the fact that I never said to myself, you can't do that, I think speaks a lot to how I am as a person. Like, I really do believe I can do whatever I put my mind to that interests me and excites me. I do believe that. But I do want to be very clear that I didn't say, I want to be a business owner. It kind of happened because I had no other option. And luckily, it's working and I enjoy what I do and I made it work for me. Hopefully that makes sense. So, yeah.
So what would you say for people who are hearing that and they don't know where to begin, or they don't have the confidence, or they don't because I certainly didn't always walk around going, I can't have everything I want. What actually happened in my case was I was going around having everything that I wanted, and then the whole time saying, I never get what I want. I never, and I looked at my life and was like, oh, that's a lie. No, you actually do consistently generate and pull miracles and all kinds of things together to happen. But I always lived in a narrative of, I gotta work, I can't do it, and I'm not enough, and I'm not enough, and all of that. So what would you say to someone who is in that?
Yeah. I tell everybody, I don't care color, but I'll be honest, really, if you're a Black woman, I feel like, or a Black person, I should just say, everybody should be in therapy. I feel like therapy should be free for all. Okay, that's the first and foremost. Because I call it even maintenance therapy. Things do not have to be going quote unquote wrong for you to be in therapy, because eventually something will not go your way. You want to have that support, right? That's already built in. So therapy can do wonders for people. Just so you have the right therapist. And I always tell people, sometimes you got to write it out. You might have one therapist, and then you're like, give it some time. This isn't the best fit for me, and then you go on and find another person. I've had to do that before myself, right? So, but therapy can do wonders to help you do that work. It can take some time, but if you stick to it, I promise it can be life changing. And yeah.
I literally said that yesterday, that I was like, I think free therapy should be, if you're gonna give reparations or something, y'all spending so much time on figuring out what the money situation would be. You should free therapy, and if you're a Black therapist, you should be incentivized, because there's not that many, and I got all kinds of thoughts about it, but whatever. I do really though appreciate this. Well, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being out in the world the ways that you are, and the way that you show up, and the way that you are yourself, and you are funny, and you are passionate, and you refer people around. Know that person, talk to that person, go here, like a connector. So in so many ways, I've been very blessed to be able to finally find my soul's doctor's mate, my soul's soul's mate doctor, or whatever. It makes a difference. It makes the difference. I was horrified to get a breast exam. Everybody, and when I went in there, she said, "Hey, all people talk about is how much it hurts. I know, but it doesn't have to. Just come on in and blah blah blah." And I went in and did it, and I was like, "That's not comfortable," but I thought I was gonna be, So even that, just kind of getting my health care clear, and we know what's what, and we feel good about numbers are good, like all of it just feels good, So thank you for that, and thank you for showing up in our community in this way and being an amazing example of what it looks like when people are trying to, when you do want it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I do.
Yes. So thank you so much. I know you gotta go. I already know. So I'm gonna let you go on to your next patient and go on with your day. So thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you so much. And for this platform, All Things Grace. I think I love the name of your podcast. I didn't say that before. I do. Grace is something that's so important to me. That's a whole other podcast episode probably. But anyway, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Be well.
You too.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed what you heard today. If you did, please click the small bell and become a subscriber and join me in spreading the message of grace.